why you take things so personally, and how to understand people better. So that's what I'm going to cover in this video, guys. My name's Harrison Orr. I'm a coach at JCF Coaching and also the creator of Primal Energies mushroom extracts. So today I want to help you guys get through understanding why people are the way they are and how to stop taking things so personally, right? Taking things personally is really quite a selfish approach, right? We think we are the center of our own universe, but by thinking everything that other people do and what they say and all that kind of stuff is personal to us is quite incorrect most of the time, right? We sometimes forget to factor in the fact that maybe they had a shit day. Maybe they've just had a fight with their partner, with their mum, their dad, their kid, whatever it is, and then we just happen to be in that environment where everything breaks loose. That's the tip of the iceberg of everything that's going on in their life, and then we take it to heart and it ruins our day, and then we take it out on somebody else, and then that cycle continues, right? So there's plenty of ways to address this and to not take things so personally, but the way that I found most beneficial for myself and the way that I help other clients kind of get through this is to understand other people better. If we can understand another human being, then it makes it easier to see where they're coming from and why they might say a certain thing or act a certain way. I'm sure we've all been in that situation, either ourselves or heard someone say, well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't do that, right? But unless we have lived through every single thing that that person has up until that point in time, it's impossible to say that we wouldn't react or act the exact same way, because we can just assume that that person is acting the best way that they know how, given their experience, right? Sure, they might have different experiences to us and react in certain ways that we may deem as inappropriate or just unwarranted, but to them, that's the best that they've got. So everything that we see, do, think, experience, everything up until this point in life determines how we see the world. It shapes our map of the world and shapes how we respond and how we act in certain situations. So if you're familiar with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that's one of my favorite communication models, and I use that a lot. So through NLP, we have a model of communication that kind of elaborates on the three filters that our brains process information, right? That helps us shape our map of the world. We delete information. We delete things we don't see as relevant, right? There's always so much information coming in at any given point in time. Sounds, colors, textures, all the different senses and things like that. So we delete what is not necessary based on our experience. We distort things. So based on our map of the world, we're going to see things that affirm that. If I think that I'm the best person in the world and everyone else is below me and I'm God and all those kind of things, then I'm going to look for things to affirm that. The way people treat me, the way that the world happens around me, I'm going to look for things to affirm that. And it's the same if we think, if I think I'm a piece of shit and I'm not worth anything and everyone hates me and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to look for things to affirm that. The way people talk to me, maybe the look that they give me even without saying anything, I'm going to take that information and mold that, distort that to fit my model of the world, even though it's not always accurate. And then the third one is generalization. Just a summary of what happened so it fits our model of the world and so it's easy to remember. So once information gets put through those three filters, we then create our own little memory of this interaction and things like that. So everybody processes those things differently. So if we're then able to look at other people as reasons, there's a reason that they act the way they do. That's got nothing to do with us. The person that cut you off in the traffic on the way to work today, he wasn't, trying to overtake and think, fuck that guy. He was just in his own little world he was running late for a date or for work or for somewhere else. He didn't care who he cut off in the process. It wasn't anything personal. He was just looking after himself. So if we can take that concept and apply that to other areas of life, people aren't generally attacking us personally, but it's just a reflection of them and their state. Perception is reflection, right? So if we can understand and look at that from a place of curiosity, okay, that's an interesting behavior, that's an interesting reaction. I wonder what that person has been through to warrant that kind of a response. I'm sure you guys heard the memes a couple years ago that the "who hurt you, bro," right? That's a very sarcastic approach, but that model is quite accurate. In when people overreact or they get really defensive or quite aggressive, it's like, who hurt you? What has happened in your life to warrant that kind of a response? So when we look at things that way, we can not take things, it helps us to not be able to take things personally and then to be able to understand this person. Because when we understand people better, we have a better chance of being able to level with them and be on the same page and then ultimately communicate better. And if there is a disagreement, find out where each other's coming from and then be able to see things from a different perspective, right? The people that are the most successful in life and have the most influence and have the most friends and all that kind of stuff are the people that can see things from a different perspective. Just because you can see someone's perspective doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, but you can try to understand, okay, I can see from this perspective how that would make sense, how you could come to that conclusion. It's not to say that I agree with that because of my experiences and things like that, but I can see where you're coming from. And this is why I feel the way I feel. Like, can you now come over here and see it from the way I see it, right? And then you can have an open discussion, constructive discussion about the situation at hand and things like that. So from all the clients that I've coached and myself, the conversations that I've had, I find looking at people's opinions and their behaviors and things like that as reasons, as opposed to a personal attack, much more constructive. And also applying that little bit of curiosity. Cool, what has this person done through? That's so interesting. People that, get butthurt over nothing, little keyboard warriors and stuff like that. It's like, what's going on in this person's life to warrant this kind of behavior? Like, that's so interesting to me. And with that kind of perspective, I find it really hard to be personally offended when someone does something that I don't quite understand yet, or that might, in a past life, or in previous years, felt like a personal attack. It's like, okay, what is this person going through? Maybe I can help them if I can understand them, because maybe they don't feel understood by many people. That's why they act the way they do, right? And then so we can also look at our own behaviors as well. When we have behaviors or reactions and things like that that we don't like, understanding where that comes from. Okay, why am I reacting that way? Why am I behaving that way? Okay, maybe somewhere along the line I've reacted that way and it was positively reinforced. I got the end result that I wanted, so my brain thinks, oh, if we act this way, if I'm not getting my way in my relationship and I throw a tantrum and I throw out some toxic traits and some threats, then they end up bowing down to me and doing what I want. So that's what I have to do to get my way, right? And then so from a survival perspective, in terms of things like anxiety, depression sometimes and things like that, our brain is meant to keep us alive, right? Beyond that is our conscious mind, but our subconscious mind is just there to keep us alive. So if we react a certain way, we get really anxious and we withdraw, we leave the party, we leave the interaction, we go home, we don't talk to anyone, we do all those kind of things, it kept us alive because we're here to tell the tale. So our brain thinks that reaction is great. Cool, last time we were in this situation, we reacted this way and we survived. Awesome, let's do that again. Even though sometimes we may not like that behavior, it serves its purpose. So once we understand where that kind of comes from, we can, from a internal subconscious level, we can then try to change that and be appreciative of that. I appreciate that feeling and that response is trying to keep me alive, but it doesn't serve me anymore. I would now like to be able to do X, Y, Z instead. And that's where having, a coach or a mentor or someone to help, discuss that with and how to then change that reaction can be really beneficial. And that's what I work with a lot of my guys on. So once we understand where our own behaviors come from, especially the ones that we don't like, then we're able to change them. It also takes the pressure off us. Oh, I hate that I am like this. There's a reason you are that way. If you find it, you have a better chance of being able to change it. So I hope that helps. I hope you got some cool takeaways from this. Flick me a DM or comment below on this, what your biggest takeaways were. And I hope to see you guys soon.